Khayelitsha residents are reeling this morning following the death of 5 people from one family. They died in a devastating fire. Authorities say the blaze engulfed the entire home in France informal settlement over the weekend. Now, a 2019 study has revealed that more than 5,500 cases of informal settlement fires were reported in South Africa in that year alone. So is the city of Cape Town capacitated enough to deal with this problem? Let's unpack the story. Jermaine Carelse is the spokesperson for Cape Town's Fire and Rescue Service and joins us over our video line this morning. Jermaine, great to have you with us on the program on what really is such a devastating story. It's on the front page of the Cape Times today. Neighbours describing the sounds that were coming as that fire engulfed the home of that family. What do we know so far about the cause of the blaze? Let's begin there.
Good morning to you and your viewers. Yes, this is a very tragic incident that occurred in the early hours of Sunday morning. And actually, this was reported by provincial traffic. They were on the end to inbound to the city, and they actually saw the fire. And they contacted us with Lambsdon Road Fire Station being the closest proximity. And as you alluded to earlier, when they arrived on scene, that whole structure was already alight, and only they could douse the flames, and then they found the fire bodies. Sure. Yes, there are some speculation surrounding the cause of the fire, but whenever there's a death involved, the South African Police Service takes lead on that investigation.
I see. I mean, it's just a few weeks now into the winter months in Cape Town. Already there have been, you'll tell us how many incidents so far in this cold snap that we've seen over the past couple of weeks. But it does beg the question around, you know, what the plan is, not only in the city of Cape Town, in various regions around the country. There was also a fire over the weekend in Durban, also raising 250 homes to the ground in that incident. So what is the plan, as far as you know, from the city of Cape Town?
Right, from the city of Cape Town's point of view, you spoke earlier about the resources. How are we resourced? We've got 32 fire stations within the boundary of the city of Cape Town. I think that's more than any other area within South Africa, or even the Southern Africa, with the amount of resources and staff that we have available to respond to emergencies. What we're doing and what the city has invested in is a lot with our public education programs. We've got a fire safety section that deals with educating the communities, be it the Carelse, schools, community leaders. They go out, especially on the weekends, because most people work during the Monday to Friday. Then they go out on a Saturday morning and engage with the community and the community leaders, and to explain them the dangers of fires, what to do, and especially with the winter months, everyone wants to stay warm. And there's areas that doesn't have electricity. A lot of people still use candles, so we have to educate the people what to do in the event. Especially with load shedding now. If you use a candle, put it in one of those candle holders and fill it with sand. So in the event that the candle does fall over, the flame will be snuffed out by the sand. There's also other investments that the city has made with contributing with fire extinguishers to certain areas within the communities, smoke alarms, and there's various amounts of CCTV cameras at strategic locations which can also locate the fire prior to someone phoning us. But I think one of our biggest problems, especially within the fire service, is that people still within the city does not know the correct number to call in the event of an emergency to get the resources there quickly.
I mean that's an incredibly important point, Jermaine, and perhaps, you know, as part of the exercise we're doing with you this morning, we can put up those emergency numbers on our screen for people who are watching. You know, one other detail that's emerged in the regional papers' coverage of what happened in Khayelitsha with this fire talks about, you know, this balance between people keeping themselves and their families safe at night, and so locking up their homes quite tight. They've got burglar bars securing all windows and doors. But what that means in the event of a fire, in this particular instance, neighbors say that apparently the residents of that home couldn't see their way in the home because of the smoke and couldn't find the keys to the door, and thus were stuck inside.
I think that's also the one thing that we as fire safety as well as DRM have been advocating, is that when you go to bed or at least with the family members that's inside the house, have an emergency evacuation plan, so that in the event a fire should occur, everyone knows exactly where to go to, where there's an exit point, be it the window or the door that's locked, that there should be at least 2 exit points from within the structure itself.
Yeah, that's an important point as well. When I introduced our discussion, I talked about that 2019 study that revealed that there were 5,500 cases of informal settlement fires in South Africa in that year, in 2019. I'm not sure how many of those fires happened in the city of Cape Town, but year on year, have you seen the numbers sort of holding steady in terms of the number of informal settlement fires?
Yes, I've got stats from, say, 2019, and I only took from the winter months, as from May up until August. So we had about 530 informal structure fires for 2019. Then it had a dip for 432 for 2020, and that's the start of COVID. And then in the COVID period in 2021, we had a massive increase of about 637. And that is also due to more informal settlements sprung up during the course of the night or during the course of the day. And there were more people at home during that period.
Yeah.
Also, a big problem that we as a City of Cape Town Fire and Rescue Service have, or the challenges that we face with, is that the access to these informal settlements, because if people build their houses quite close together, there's no gap, maybe the 3-meter gap, so that if there is a fire, it doesn't spread quickly to the nearest structure.
I mean, given the numbers that you've just outlined to us, from 2019, 500, 432, and then 2021, 637 fires. The interventions that the city has put in place, it's fair to say, given these numbers, that they're not working. They haven't worked so far.
It is working. It's an idea that a lot of these fires are caused by a lack of concentration. Take into account if you use a paraffin stove, fires that occur, especially in paraffin stove, gas stoves, people must be attentive. They must monitor these things quite regularly. People that go to bed smoking, this causes a lot of fire with the heating appliances. We advocate that people at night when they go to bed just switch off the electrical appliance at the wall socket itself, because there's a lot of electrical fires that can occur due to that. Also, the illegal electrical connections has a lot of causes to fires that we respond to within the city's boundaries.
So, Jermaine, before we let you go, I mean, essentially what you're saying is that the city can put in place their own plan to deal with a period like the one that we're coming up to now, the winter months, but also it's up to residents to try and take heed and to try and do what they can to prevent fires from taking place. But that emergency number that sort of encompasses all manner of emergencies in Cape Town, is that the 107 number?
Yes, that's a 107 number from my cell phone, and that is for the City of Cape Town residents as well, from your cell phone. And I always tell people they must save that as a speed dial on their phones, 021 480 7700. With that number, you reach a call takeaway emergency call center operator within the first 10 seconds. That also gives us more time to respond, because the longer it takes for someone to report a certain incident, the greater the fire then can cause more harm or danger to people. Absolutely.
Jermaine Carelse, let me thank you for your time this morning. He's the spokesperson for Cape Town's Fire and Rescue Service. Let's try and get those numbers up on the screens and these are for residents in Cape Town. From your cell phone, you can dial that 107 number, and that gives you access to a number of emergency services. There's also the number 021 480 7700. And of course, it's part of our coverage insofar as that fire that unfolded in Khayelitsha over the weekend, 5 members of the same family killed in that incident.